How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike The Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
Doing good, man. I can't decide if it's going to get cold now and I want to let
Yeah.
it like grow out, the hair. I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, it's a little too poofy, but maybe I'll let it grow and then do the two on the sides, go back to the winter haircut. It might be that time. Might be getting away from the hot weather haircut.
Oh yeah, the full fade all over, right?
Yeah, no more of the two everywhere. The easier one, but I only like to do that when it's like really, really hot.
Yeah, I actually just got a haircut myself. I go with the low fade number one with the two on the beard. So it's always nice to get a clean cut, man.
Yeah, the hair looks good too. Looks good. I haven't seen
Yeah, it's
you in like a month, so
been a couple weeks, hasn't it?
yeah, I've been two for sure because I think you were on one, but I was gone, and then I was on two, and you were gone.
Well, we have the episode with Joey for offsides versus the
Oh,
Chargers. So
that's right. I did get on that one. I forgot. That's my
yes,
fault.
there you. I know you've had a busy week, man. So
It's been
it
a
can be
lot.
hard to remember everything.
3.5 hour movies and haunted houses, and to be honest, I don't even remember what the other thing was. Oh, Adam Sandler. I went and saw Adam Sandler live. That was great. It's
See, how
been
was the
busy.
stand up? I've never seen it.
It's the funny thing about him is his jokes are older jokes that you've heard, like but it's how he delivers them and his style on them that makes them so funny. And it's
Yeah,
like stand-up wise, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, they were better stand-ups, but entertainment value, the way he does the songs and the way he interacts with the crowd, like his is one of the best shows I've seen for a stand-up. It was a lot of fun. I would 100% go again, like no doubt about it.
well, since we're talking about your active weekend, what movies did you go see?
The flower, the De Niro flower.
Oh, okay, yeah, DiCaprio.
Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon. Good movie. Don't see it in theaters. It's too long. But the
Yeah,
movies, don't make that mistake to think that the movie's not good. The movie is excellent. It is a
right,
very good
right.
movie. Just wait for it to stream. It's fine. It's a true story. There's no shocking ending that's going to get revealed for you. They're two very horrible human beings. That's the movie. Two terrible
Mm,
human beings and the stuff they do. And very, very good movie. Wait for it to stream. Sorry,
yeah.
Martin Scorsese and DiCaprio. You'll make enough money. It's already made a ton. It's like one of Scorsese's highest opening movies. But my recommendation to you is mark it down. You definitely want to see it. It's a very, very well acted movie. It's a little bit too long. It's probably like 45 minutes too long. They could have cut a lot out of that movie. 3.5 hours. You got to be like in
Ooh,
game. If you're getting 3 hours, you got to be in game where it's like a culmination of 20 something movies. Just a
right.
regular telling a story, cut some stuff out, keep it under 3 hours, people. 2 hours and 45 minutes. But it's Scorsese. We respect it, and it's a good movie. Just wait for it to come out streaming. It'll be on Apple Plus soon. It's an Apple movie, so watch it then.
Yes, based on your recommendation, Mike, the last movie I saw in theater was The Creator, which oddly enough I found out is not doing well in theaters. But oh my god, dude, probably one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen. One of the best movies I've ever seen.
It was incredible, and it makes me very sad that movie did, because as good as those actors in that other movie, that Killer Moon don't hold a candle to The Creator.
Yeah,
It's very, very good. I want people to watch that movie. But if you have like, hey, I can only watch one of these movies, you throw the Scorsese one in the trash. The Creator is incredible. That is beyond. That is, like you said. when we did top 5 sci-fi movies, I 100%
Yes.
wanted to put that movie in. It's just I only seen it once.
Yeah.
So it's not fair, but I wanted to put that movie in there. That movie is awesome. Go see that. Make that movie some money. Make it become a cult classic. Like, do something. That director's really good. He directed Rogue One. I'm blanking on his name right now. He's an excellent director. The cast is good. The story is unbelievable. Get back out in the theater and go see that damn movie. It's good.
That movie really, I mean, I like James Washington already prior to that movie, but after seeing him in that, I'm like, he might be in my top 5 favorite actors after that
And
performance.
he was, and I loved him in Tenet. He's been great in Ballers, but I agree, it like went up a level with this one. It really did, because Ballers was like his his thing. He was a piece of a good show. And then Tenet is Christopher Nolan. I don't care who you put. Inception, Matthew McConaughey, DiCaprio, it's Christopher Nolan. So he doesn't get the credit of it. It's like, well, of course he was good. Christopher Nolan, everybody's good in Christopher Nolan. Hell, was it Hayden Christensen that was in that, or was it Robert Pattinson?
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson's unbelievable in Tenet. Like, he
so
is
good,
awesome.
so good. Yeah.
But it's Christopher Nolan. So this one was like, I love Rogue One and I love this director. So it's easy for me to go, but I don't even remember his name right now. I'm blanking on it. He's not as big a name. So Washington gets to come out of it like he made this great movie. And I love that for him. He deserves it. Ken Watanabe too, who most of you will know as Batman Begins or Last Samurai. But Ken Watanabe is good in everything he's ever been in his whole life. The guy's incredible. So go see Creator. For real. Go see that movie.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, we kind of went off here on a little tangent. We haven't talked in a while, so I guess we had to do some catching up, sir.
Yeah, I know. Especially once you got Creator involved. I apologize.
Yes, sir. Well, Mike, before we get into our discussion tonight, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet. Letter C, letter D, Piglet. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on, but I want to thank you and Brendan for holding down the fort while I was away. You guys did great. I watched both episodes. I tried to get to both of them on time, but I was a few minutes late on one and I was about an hour late on the other one, but still great shows regardless. I definitely miss chopping it up with you guys, but I'm glad to be back. As always, I'm excited for our discussion tonight. But before we do anything, we must discuss one thing and one thing only. Of course, I'm referring to my personal favorite segment, Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu today?
I had to get back down to my thing. I gained about 3.5 pounds since I got back from Disneyland because I haven't been going by any stand. I just been whatever I want to eat, I'm gonna eat right now.
Yeah.
So today was my day to get back on it. I prepped a bunch of food for the week. I'm gonna make a lot of good food. Tonight, I'm doing cauliflower tacos, which you've known I've had a few times since the podcast. Air fried. You marinate them in egg yolks and hot sauce, and then they have this spicy breading on them. They're air fried. I made a fresh pico de gallo, not store-bought. I made it with avocado, tomato, onion, cilantro, salt, pepper, lime zest, lime juice, and then I have a salsa verde that'll go on top. And that's going to be dinner tonight, some cauliflower tacos.
Sounds delicious. Yeah, I know you said you've been eating good. Over the weekend, my wife, she was on Facebook and she saw your post. Like you posted some pictures of your dinner before going to see Adam Sandler. Looked like he had a nice Korean little fest going on.
That place was good. I'm not even going to get into the waitresses and get canceled. But I had a couple drinks there that were good. I hadn't been drinking since. Other than going to Disneyland, I basically barely drank over the last bit. So I had a couple strong drinks. That corn dog thing, I can't remember what it's called, but it's friggin' mozzarella cheese that's in corn dog batter and like potatoes. It sounds weird, fried, and then it has sugar, like sprinkled sugar on it, and it's served with ketchup. It was. I don't know what weed the person who thought about that was on, but I want a hit of it because that was so good.
Dude, Korean corn dogs are incredible, bro.
Their whole thing. We got fried rice with bacon and kimchi. What else did I get? Man, I'm blanking right now. We
I know I
got a
got some
couple
kind of
other
tacos,
things.
some loaded fries.
Oh yeah, that's right. Bulgogi fries and spicy chicken tacos.
Man,
Good.
it looked incredible. It all looked really, really good.
That was a good meal.
Yes, sir. I bet. Well, Mike, I know the Cowboys had their bye last week, so I thought now would be a good time to do a mid-season assessment of the team and grade the Cowboys on their performances up to this point. We're going to start with the coaching staff and how we're going to grade it. We're going to do the best, the worst, surprise, and then we're going to do our overall grade. So, Mike, I'm curious, when you look at the coaching staff, who's been your best coach so far?
I got to give Al Harris that designation. You lose an all-pro player, and people are kind of like, yeah, tough loss, but we're okay. Like, what other team would be like that? Like, there are not many teams, an all-pro corner. And you're like, Bland, Lewis, and Gilmore, they'll be okay. Like, so yeah, I got to give that credit to Al Harris. He's really had I worry about losing one more just because the team hasn't really played Israel Mukwamu. So I'm thinking if he was up to the level of, being able to come in and start at one of the spots, that he would be rotated in more, but they just leave him inactive. They don't even play him. So, I'm worried about depth, but Al Harris with what he's got has really killed it.
I like that. That's a lot, better than what I've got. But I'm going to go with John Fossil rather, just because the special teams has been the most consistent all season. I mean, I know, Brandon Aubrey, we'll talk more about him later, but he's been the surprise of the team. I know we haven't really done that well as far as kickoff returns or punt returns, but just overall, I feel like special teams has been the most consistent unit week to week.
That is the correct answer.
I don't know. I like your answer, Border.
No. Fossil is the correct answer. That guy took a kicker that everybody was panicking about. Yeah. He's missed one extra point, made everything else. He's touched back on every kickoff. Other than last week when he lost his ace, CJ Goodwin, which he'll figure it out. But they had some issues on special teams, on returns and stuff. But before last week, no team had hit us with any kind of big return. Like, you're right. That's the right call. Fossil has killed it for us. That is the correct coach.
Well, Mike, I will take that, man. We're moving on to our worst here. I feel like we might have the same answer here. I'll go first on this one. I got to go with Mike McCarthy. Looking at the offense, they've only scored 11 touchdowns. They're bottom 10 in passing yards and yards per reception, bottom 10 in passing first downs. And Dak has as many passing TDs as Desmond Ridder and Josh Dobbs. Of course, you can't blame that all on McCarthy, but that's pathetic.
Yeah, that's the answer. And for everything you said, that you replaced Kellen Moore, brought in better, like Tony Pollard as a lead back is a better playmaker than Zeke at that point of his career. Zeke was short yardage. He did stuff to help, but overall you brought in more playmaking. Jake Ferguson, better playmaker than Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz was a little bit more reliable, catch the stuff underneath, stuff like that. Cooks, speed, and playmaking. And you just look and you're like, they got Gallup a year off of injury. Now, he may not be the same guy, but he's definitely more confident on his legs. He's not directly coming off that injury first game's back. And you are loaded up with that. And even your offensive line on paper should be better. They definitely have basically the same guys. And they've been more healthy than last year. They may be as healthy, but that's the one area where it's been like, But other than that, you on paper were better everywhere, and you're like way worse. It's not like it's comparable. You've really downgraded. So yeah, Mike McCarthy definitely.
Do you think Brian Schottenheimer, if he was calling the plays, do you think he'd be doing a better job?
No, because to be honest with you, I think it comes from the top. Like, the Joneses want to win a certain way, and there's a reason that after the preseason game where they were throwing it all over the field, Jerry was out there going like, I don't know if I'd take as many deep shots like that, and I'm like, what are we doing? If you know the defense they're running and stuff, you don't want to like, trick motion is trick plays. Like, so
Right.
Brian Schottenheimer would be saddled the same way. You know who's a top 6 or 7 team in motion this year? The Chargers, Kellen Moore. So, I mean, it obviously wasn't Kellen Moore because he's now a top 7, I think they are now, in motion on the year. So why? What changed going from here to there? What could it be the difference?
Yeah. And you got to imagine if Justin Herbert hadn't injured his pinky or, that part of his, I don't know. I don't know if it's his throwing hand or not, but he's obviously hobbled. But if he was 100% healthy, I think that offense would be a lot different too.
Yeah. And they're a top 10 offense. I think they're 8th, I believe. And it's his left. He injured his offhand.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, but even then, man, that's clearly affecting him because he's been missing some really easy throws that a player of his caliber, he makes most of those throws in his sleep.
And he also has to worry about his mobility, getting hit on it, so that when stuff like that goes through your mind, it is going to impact your play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike. We've talked about our best, our worst. Who's been your surprise coach for the year?
My surprise is kind of going to be a negative. Mike Solari. Okay. While I'll give them credit that they've mixed and matched and been okay, I feel like they've hit the Philman levels. When there's people out and stuff, they've survived it. They've been like, okay, we got to move this guy here, this. We've done what we can. But he's had some games where the line is healthy. Like for the first time, last 2 games, they haven't done anything special. And I know it takes time to get into rhythm, but you're talking about like they haven't looked any better than they did when the guys were mixing in. And that shouldn't be because those guys never play together. So that can't be an excuse, So I don't know if it's techniques or the team's not used to this and that, but Solari has been a disappointment. I thought they'd be better with what they have this year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there. For me, my surprise is going to be Dan Quinn, and it's not really bad or good. I know losing Trayvon is obviously going to hurt. Losing LVE and not having Donovan Wilson for all of training camp hurts. But I don't know. This, I look about the performance against the 49ers and against the Cardinals, and it's just something about that. Something seems a little off with the defense this year.
The offense has been consistently mediocre to bad. They haven't been very good. But the defense has looked great at times. Mm-hmm. And then Arizona and Niners, the Niners, I'm not going to put that on them because they got worn down because the offense couldn't do anything. Right. But the Arizona game, 222 rushing yards there to James Conner in Arizona. And they're like, no, that can't happen if you're going to be elite. So, yeah, I'm with you. Consistency-wise, they have not been as great as we hoped.
And Arizona hasn't won a game since, man.
No, that was their Super Bowl game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, now we're going to start talking about the players. We're going to move to the offense here. I'll go first. My best player. This is easy. I actually you might have an idea of who I'm going to say because I asked you about offensive line stats earlier today. But it's Zach Martin, man. He's just so consistent. But without him on this offensive line, I don't know what we'd look like. Because I know we've only seen him one game against Arizona, and we saw how that game went. But it's a consistency thing for me, and he's nothing but if consistent every year in and year out.
I like that answer. I went with CeeDee Lamb.
I like that.
And the reason I did is because he's been the most consistent player. Zach Martin has missed a game, and he had a not a great game against Chargers. Not a great game against Chargers. He's obviously on one leg. Y'all know Zach Martin is my guy. He is a beast. Yeah. He is number one. It feels like CeeDee Lamb, he's not getting targeted enough, but that doesn't have to do with him. He is open. He catches the ball at a ridiculous rate. He's done everything he can do. It's about the team. Just look at the Jets game. The Jets are an excellent secondary, a good defense, 13 targets, 11 catches. You give CeeDee Lamb 13 targets a game, he's going to get you 10 catches. So I put him as my best so far because I believe he's been most consistently good at what what he can do. How you doing,
Couldn't agree more,
Prescott?
Mike. Prescott, appreciate you tuning in as always, sir. All right, we talked about our best. Mike, give us your worst offensive player this year so far.
I got to go Steele. And I feel bad because it's not really his fault. It's the Gallup syndrome. It's, he's coming off that injury and he's just not the guy right now that he was last year. And so he's what he was last year is a poor pass protector, mediocre to poor, but an elite run blocker. So because you were getting such good job in the run game, you kind of, we'll give him some help, give him a chip, we'll survive the pass game. Dak also does well against tackle pressure compared to up the middle pressure. So Steele's pass blocking hasn't been that detrimental, but now that the push isn't there in the run game so far, it's been really bad. And like Nick Bosa ate him alive in the San Francisco game. So maybe it stinks. Like there's probably been worse players, but compared to like expectation of what we need from them, Steele is my worst.
For me, Mike, I'm going to go with Michael Gallup, man. And I look at him and only 2 games with over 50 receiving yards, hasn't scored a touchdown this season, and caught only 3 of 10 targets in week 5. I don't know, man. I feel like Dak's been trying to get him going, almost borderline forcing him the ball, and he's just not really been doing much with the opportunity.
And that's the big difference between Lamb and Gallup. Like when you look at it, when you force the ball to Lamb, when you give him his targets, he's making plays. So Michael Gallup's probably second on the team in targets, and
easily,
and there's nothing really to show for it. And I'm like, what do we bring Cooks in for? Like, Gallup's a great answer, and I think Luke Schoonmaker, who is blocked well, keeps him from being what could be the answer, because we expected him to come in. Oh, he's the backup. He's not. No, he's supposed to be fighting Jake Ferguson for a job, and he hasn't been. So I think if he wasn't blocking, I might have went with him. But that's your 3 right there. Is Schoonmaker, Gallup, and Steele.
Man, that's an important 3 too when you look at it. You know what I mean?
When you're trying to compete with 49ers, Eagles, Buffalo, maybe you can survive the Rams, maybe, but you're going to need those guys to really be playmakers to beat the better teams.
Absolutely. All right, Mike, who's your surprise player for offense?
Pollard. He just hasn't done a lot. I've been surprised. Like, you got more carries, and I understand a wear and tear, but in the start of games, he's not hitting any big plays. And the offensive line isn't as good. Trust me, but the offensive line, has had plays where they haven't been great, and he's been able to escape. So maybe the injury, like Steele, like Gallup, maybe that's a thing that's hampering him, that's slowed him down a little bit. Maybe the offensive line's really bad, but it's surprising that we haven't hit any big plays, -1 Dak hero ball, like make a play, spin, get around, get out of the pocket, and toss it to him. And even that one, I mean, we all thought touchdown. Like when he got that, we're like, oh, he's gone. The minute he spin out and to get caught, that was even surprising. So Pollard's both my surprises are negative, but I'm kind of disappointed. I know 4-2 sounds good, but without Aaron Rodgers and the way the team played at first, like the team shouldn't have been less than 5-1. And even that loss, if it's the Niners, they should have been competitive. So I'm kind of down on them right now.
No, Mike, my surprise player also is Tony Pollard. And, the stats leave a lot to be desired, but I was kind of surprised when I was looking up, doing some research. I know, I think it's safe to say that he's improved mightily in his blitz pickup this season, but he's top 15 in rushing yards, top 20 in rushing for first downs, and top 3 in receptions for running backs. We feel like he should have more touchdowns, because at one point he had 24 opportunities in the red zone and maybe 2 touchdowns to show for it. So yeah, he's been surprising. You want to see more, but I was surprised that he, even though he feels like he hasn't done much, he's still among where you want him to be in those important categories.
My surprise is that he hasn't hit big plays. That's my surprise with Pollard. There's just none really in the run game. None.
Yeah. I believe he has 2 plays for 20 plus yards, which for a guy like Pollard, I mean, he would get that in 2 games a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
All right. So what is your overall grade for the offense? I forgot to do it for the coaching staff, but what's your overall grade for the offense right now?
Coaching staff, I'll do a C. Because McCarthy's got to get a D. A for the special teams, probably a B minus for Quinn. So we'll go C there. For the offense, I got to give him can you not give him an F? Maybe a D.
Oh wow.
I guess they had stuff in between the 20s where they did well. I would probably go D. They're too talented to be. They should be. This team should be like, yes, we're strong defensively. It's our thing. But if our defense struggles, our offense could light you up too. It should be a how do you want it situation. And it's like, damn, I hope the defense is good because the offense can't do shit. So, and that is really unexpected.
Yeah, for me, I guess I'll do the coaching staff too. And at the time when I was doing it, I gave a B plus. I know the offense has been bad, but you look at the special teams, and when you lose Trayvon Diggs and LVE, and you're still, I know that San Francisco game, that's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth, and that's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth for a while. So I can see, still wanting to see more from this team overall, but especially on offense. I gave the coaching staff a B plus, but they probably are closer to a C or C minus, and C minus is actually what I gave the offense.
It would be a B plus without the offense, in my opinion. It would be a B plus, but the offense just, for me, drags it down. I just do not. The Minnesota just broke a play with 10 seconds to go in the half and scored a touchdown if there's no flags. So it's 17-7, just for an update. You got a Rangers update?
No, I was going to ask you for a Rangers update here in a couple of minutes. I'll look
that up. I can do that right now. Just set up we can set up the next question. But yeah, I'm a little bit lower on the offense than you, but I think it's because my expectations were high. I expected them to be in the area of the defense.
Yeah.
It's 4-2 Rangers in the 4th.
Beautiful, beautiful. It looks like Adolis Garcia might have hit another home run, which, dude, he is such a beast, man. I don't know how much you watch the Rangers or know about the Rangers, but we've had a great year this year.
I couldn't tell you one Rangers player, except for I know that there's a guy named Evans because I saw on Twitter somebody say Evans is hitting third. I'm rooting for Rangers. I'm following it because I'm from California, but basically all of my Twitter's from Texas. And they're all Texas fans. And, I got to watch them suffer through another Cowboys season. And I'm like, come on, man, give them this. Don't let them lose to the cheating Astros. Give Rangers this one.
How crazy is it that the Stars, Dallas Stars, and the Texas Rangers have been like competing for championships, and it's still a Cowboys town, man?
Yes, Cowboys are the most loved.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, we're moving on to the defense here. Who's been your best player on defense?
I know. Easily a case could be made for Tank Lawrence, who by the analytics of overall defensive end has been better than Micah. But Micah, for what he has to go against with, do we even need to go into it? It's Micah. It's Micah.
Micah's the easy answer, Mike. I wanted to be a little different. I know you like to do that from time to time. I went with your guy, Deron Bland, man. He leads the team in interceptions, tied for second in interceptions among the NFL, allowed 50 receiving yards just once all season, hasn't allowed a single touchdown, and he's playing on the outside, man. Just, God, dude, he's having an amazing year.
Can you imagine if I was like, this guy's going to say Micah, I'll say Tank. And I was like, Tank, man, he's doing this. And then you said Deron Bland, and we both.
I almost used Tank.
It's like when Michael Jordan didn't win MVP.
Yeah.
It's like, he's MVP every year. You don't think about it, so nobody says
Right.
him. But
Yeah.
I like Fresno State. I'm gonna rep for Deron Bland. Move and
All
the
day, every
move
day.
mid-season, moving to outside.
Seriously.
It's
For
so
real.
difficult, and he's just killed it.
Yeah, I mean, he had a bad first game, but then he's just dominated ever since.
He's gonna get beat sometimes. He's in a
Yeah,
new
of course.
position. He's
Yeah.
playing Keenan Allen last week, burned him twice, burned him to death. But he also made 2 plays. He should have had a pick 6, and he caused a turnover because it was 4th down, and he knocked the ball away. So that's like an interception. He stopped them from scoring. So yeah, Deron Bland is killed, man. He's been great. Him and Tank, shout out to them. Mike is the answer, but shout out to those two.
For real. So, Mike, I have the untrained eye of the show. I didn't know who to really put here at worst. I mean, I think Neville Gallimore could have been an easy answer, but he hasn't played enough to qualify for being the worst in my eyes. So, tell me, who do you think's been the worst player on defense?
It's hard to say worse. The way I'm going to put it is I'm going to say Wilson, and the reason I'm going to say Gano,
wow, okay,
is because I believe he's working it like a lot of people in the Niners defense. Muhammad, my friend who's a Niners fan, talked about how Nick Bosa wasn't doing crap through the first 4 weeks, yada yada. Well, it's because he didn't play any. Donovan Wilson was injured all of training camp, preseason, everything. So they're kind of playing their way back into it. So I'm not saying worse as in like Wilson sucked, but he just, he's working his way back into shape. He's working his way back in the rotation, everything like that. So I went with Wilson, but it's not about like, oh, this guy's not playing good. Wilson will be fine. He's just the guy that needs to get, back into it because he was injured all training camp.
I also almost put Jaron Kearse, but then I was looking through his stats and his numbers. I'm like, this is kind of on par for what he's been doing around this time of year, every year here. So I know he's had some bad plays, but I don't think it's fair to call him the worst either.
No, the problem is that his expectation is so high. The way he's like locked down tight ends and the leader of the group and everything. If he's not like playing A+, it's like, oh man, Jaron Kearse is down this year, and it's like, yeah, but he's playing like a B level. Like you take that from most of your defense, So I'm not putting Jaron as the worst at all.
Yeah. So moving on to our surprise here, Mike, I'll start us off. I got to go with Marquise Bell, dude. I mean, 4th on the team in tackles with 27, has added much needed depth, firepower at a position in dire need of it, and has a versatility as a linebacker and a safety. Dude, I love watching him play.
Bell is also my answer.
I figured that.
You think going from slot to outside corner is hard? This guy was like a rotational safety, and they're like, hey, we're going to move you to linebacker. And now he started last game and played great. Like, he's been a revelation. If we want to go somebody else, Wanye Thomas, when healthy, has been excellent. Tank, I know we're used to Tank being what he is. He's took it up a level. He's been excellent. So yeah, there's a lot of options for defense on surprise, but Bell's the guy.
What's nice about Tank, it's that when he stopped wanting him to, like, expecting him to get 19 or 20 sacks every season, he just appreciate what he does. You're like, this guy is still so really, really good.
The minute you got Micah as the guy that you're like, that's our 15 plus sack guy.
Yeah.
Then Tank got to be like, it was like, it's like Gilmore. Gilmore was loved, and then Diggs went down, and it's like, oh, this is our number 1 now, and he's not doing that great. And it's like he's doing the same. It's just you're not seeing as much because he was facing the second guys. That's how it is, only in reverse. Before, now we have the Diggs for Gilmore, which was Micah, and so you can appreciate what Tank does, and it's hard to do what he does, and he does it at the best level in football. He is the best run-stopping defensive end there is, and he adds good pressure. He's a good pressure guy. He's not great, he's not elite, but he's good.
Yeah, and he's still getting pressure on the quarterback, still getting tackles for loss, so you love to see it. Mike, what's your overall grade for the defense?
I'm gonna go. I'll give them B+. The The Niner game I can't put on. I'm going to dock them, from A+ to A- for the Arizona game. And then the Niner game I can't really put on them. They got wore down, but they did have the opening drive and one other drive that I was like, damn, dude, if you could just get stops there. So I knock them down one more a half. So I'll say B+.
Yeah, I went with a B. That probably should be a B+ like you. I'm not really sure what made me give him a B. Probably just still thinking about that San Francisco game and that Arizona. Just those two losses are, I don't know, man. Those are, you hate to have those smudges on your record, if you will.
I agree. And the teams they beat, like the friggin' Giants look better with Tyrod Taylor.
That's
The
crazy to
Jets
me.
had Zach Wilson. And
Yeah.
New England, who I don't know how the hell they beat Buffalo. Man, Josh Allen, like you can't turn the ball over in that game. But like I can't really be like, oh wow, you crushed them. Like, you probably
Exactly.
should have
Yeah.
crushed them. So the Charger game was the biggest, like, okay, and they shut down Eckler and they held them to 17, and 7 of those was because of the special teams mistake, which really was on the refs, but whatever. So they played really well against the Chargers. I think that moves them to the B+ category.
Very, very, very fair there. Good argument. All right, Mike, here we are with special teams. I think we're going to have the best, same answer for the best, but go ahead and surprise me here.
Anger.
Oh.
If you look at it, both Anger and Aubrey have been unbelievable. Aubrey's missed one extra point, and Anger never messes. Like he's just great. He always kicks well. You barely ever get a return on him. I think they got one good return on an Anger punt. Like he's just consistently excellent at his job. It's even the Charger game. Like he was one of the MVPs of that game. He kept putting them in bad field position. Like It's important when your team's a not great offense, lean on the defense, that your special teams put you in good field position. And when I go between them, I'll go, okay, well, Aubrey did miss one kick. The other guy's been basically perfect. So I did Anger like by that.
Well, Mike, I'll save us both, and I went with Brandon Aubrey. Hasn't missed a kick since week 1. Hasn't missed a field goal all season. Is 2 for 2 on field goals of 50 yards or longer, and 35 of 36 of his kickoffs have been touchbacks. I mean, you got to love that, dude.
Somebody returned one of his kickoffs.
That's what I saw, man. I'm not sure how far it went. I just know that only 35 of 36 of his kickoffs have been touchbacks.
Wow, I thought it was all of them. Damn, that's my bad.
Oh, I mean, I'll still take 35 of 36.
Oh, me too. The only reason that one was returned is because they probably laid it up. They probably said, "Hey, we're going to try to get kick it short here, and we're going to try to tackle them, inside the 25."
Oh, yeah, very, very possible. So with the worst, again, Mike, to my untrained eye, I don't know who. I wouldn't. I don't watch the game twice. I don't watch the All 22. I had a question mark, so I'm glad you didn't have anything either.
I got nothing. Nobody on that unit has been bad.
Yeah. Okay. So who's your surprise then?
Aubrey.
Oh, okay.
Nobody thought that guy was making every field goal. Only first extra point of the year, in the weather and everything. And then he's touchbacks. I was going to say he kicks everything for a touchback. I guess they did have one return. Like, yeah, it has to be Aubrey. He was like the biggest concern going into the year. And now he's like, oh, we're good. Aubrey's like the one he's Zach Martin all of a sudden. So, knock on wood that it's kicker. Brett Maher was pretty like automatic going into the last week of the season. So knock on wood on Aubrey. I don't want to jinx him, but he's been great.
So my surprise for the special teams is not necessarily a bad surprise, but I'm going to go with Kavontae Turpin. Reason being is he only has 45 total yards on punt returns. His longest return is only 11 yards. But the thing is, though, I like seeing him more being used as a receiving weapon, as a weapon on offense, more so than on special teams. So, like I said, it's not a bad surprise, but I'm just surprised he hasn't done very much with the punt return chances that he's had.
Teams are really trying to not allow it. Teams are really kicking like, okay, get it way in the air and do not give him a chance to break one.
Right. Who? Oh, yeah, you said Aubrey. So what's your overall grade for the special teams?
A plus.
Mm-hmm.
Special teams has been great. I can't even think of a negative. I think they had one bad return last week when they lost CJ Goodwin. So, and that fumble, it's hard to put that on him. Like, the dude got hands to the face and pushed in the back on the same play with no call. Like, I'm not killing the special teams for that. I'm not killing Tolbert for that. 2 penalties should have been called, and it was a fumble because he was trying to make a hustle play because he thought it was a live ball. So I'm not killing the special teams for that. So A plus.
So when I did this, I had A minus, but A plus sounds fair just because, I mean, they've been the most consistent unit. They really haven't done anything. They haven't lost us a game or anything. So they definitely deserve at least an A, if not an A plus.
I agree.
All right, Mike, we're going to talk a little bit here. There was a report came out by Charles Robinson about the Cowboys being active prior to the trade deadline. Are you buying that report?
Nope.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
No, they don't really. I mean, they got Hankins. I'll give them that. Somebody reminded me of that, and that was a big trade and a good trade.
Yeah.
And they did have Cooks and Gilmore before the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that it's true. But I don't. They need, especially with Bayard going to Philly, they probably could use a piece. Somebody, I don't really like running back, but if you can get Henry at the right price, Pollard's not been doing it. You may need a bruiser guy to if you want to do the 25 handoffs a game, giving him 18 of them, he's older. I don't want to pay him. I don't really want that trade, but I'm trying to do something for, people think of like, we don't want to play that way instead of how can we play that way more effectively? Like, I don't want to play that way, guys. I don't want to run the ball all the time. I don't want to get Dak in 3rd and 6. But if that's what they're going to do, if we're stuck with that, then find a way to do it the best way possible. Improve your wide receiver. Get a bigger guy who's better at slants than Gallup is. Somebody, because Gallup's getting the one-on-one over there. Somebody that's great at slants over there. Get a Derrick Henry who, if you're going to run it up the middle, that's the guy that does it better. I'd rather improve the O-line and do it the way you should. But, like a corner, like get a corner. Jordan, we've seen enough that people coming off injuries don't play great. Jordan Lewis probably not going to be great this year. So move him back to the 4th corner, move Deron Bland inside, or get a slot corner, trade for that, or trade for a linebacker just in case something happens. Right now you're so thin at it,
Exactly.
So, you're about to play Mukwamu at middle linebacker if you're one injury away. So I would like them to be active, but I don't believe they are.
I wouldn't hate to see him play like 10 snaps at middle linebacker just to see how he goes with Damone Clark and Marquise Bell. I'm curious to see how that would work out. I guess maybe Marquise Bell wouldn't be playing, but
Clark would be middle linebacker is what would happen, and then
I'm just saying pairing Mukwamu and Clark together. I'd be interested to see that.
That I'd like to see. I would like to see. I'm talking about him playing for Clark if Clark's injured.
Oh God! Oh, I got you. Sorry, I missed the part where you said
scare.
Clark got injured. Yeah, God, let's hope not. Mike, I'm on the other side. I'm looking at the moves that they made this offseason. I think the front office might be a little bit more aggressive than in years past. I'm not saying they're going to go out and trade a 1st-round pick or make a big trade like the Kevin Byard trade, but I do think that they will try to maybe add some depth or potentially upgrade a position.
I hope so, man. They could use a couple spots. I know they cut some people from practice squad, so maybe they have a plan.
So if the Cowboys were to make a trade, what or who are you comfortable trading away in a deal?
Cooks, Gallup, Curse, Armstrong, Fowler. I'm good with any of those in a trade. As far as players, we don't really use Cooks, so why, I don't want to do it, but if you can get, something for him, if you're not going to use him, then sure. Gallup, clearly. Curse I like, but we have so many safeties, and he's a 1-year deal. And then DA and Fowler are both 1-year deals, and you have Sam Williams who you could rotate in. You have the rookie 4th rounder, Fihoko. So, yeah, I don't know what you can get for that, but I would be comfortable if the right trade came and they got rid of one of those players. I wouldn't really care.
Yeah, so depending on the return, I'd happily trade away a day 2 pick, Mike. As far as players go, if someone wanted Sam Williams, Michael Gallup, or Cooper Rush, and maybe J-Ron Curse, I'd make those deals. I know you had Dorrance Armstrong and Fowler on yours. For me, I don't know. I'd rather keep Armstrong and trade away Williams only because I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see his full potential. I feel like he'll never be able to really get out of his own way. You know what I mean? As far as off the field stuff goes.
Just to think, man, going into next year with how impactful he was with limited snaps, I thought he was going to be the guy like, okay, he's going to show that he can replace Tank this year. And he just hasn't been impactful at all.
Yeah, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but maybe the coaching staff would like to see more from him in practice or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's had about what he had last year, and last year he had 4 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss. This year, I think he has a sack, like a couple of pressures. That's it.
Yeah. So, Mike, other than linebacker, what position would you like to see Dallas maybe add depth to or upgrade?
Cornerback. I would like them to. The way I look at it is J-Lu and Gilmore are 1-year deals, so they're gone at the end of the year, and Diggs is out this year. So there's no reason you can't go out and get a Jalen Johnson and pair him with Diggs going for like Jalen Johnson could now be your Diggs replacement as your cornerback 1, and Gilmore's back to 2, Duran's back to 3, and then at the end of the year, Gilmore leaves, Diggs comes back, Jalen Johnson replaces Gilmore. So a player like that, I'm not saying him, but a player like that would be what I would like.
Yeah, I like those picks. For me, I'd like to see some depth of offensive line, and I'd like to see a upgrade at wide receiver 2. You know, as much as I love Gallup, man, I think I've seen enough without seeing what I wanted to see, you know?
I have an article coming out that talks about the wide receiver, O-line, and cornerback positions, and like the thought process the front office might be going through about making moves at those different positions. So look for that to come out hopefully in the next day or two, I would hope.
Yes, sir. I look forward to that. All right, if the Cowboys were to make a trade, Mike, who would you like to see us bring in? I know you mentioned Derrick Henry earlier. Is that your offensive pick? Well, I know we talked about doing one offensive player, one defensive player.
I see. It's hard for me to get in because I don't think they're going to move anything. But I guess Jerry Jeudy would be a nice pick. And then let's just say Jalen Johnson. I'll say those 2. I'm not really going to break it down because it's not going to happen. But those would be 2 for me.
For me, on offense, I'll go with wide receiver Marquise Brown. Just adding another speedster to this offense wouldn't hurt and could potentially replace Brandon Cooks in 2024 if Dallas decides not to bring him back. He can play slot and outside, would be a perfect complement to CD and to Cooks. And if we decided to keep him after the season, he could still play Jalen Tolbert, him, and CD Lamb together, which I think that'd be a nice little trio there.
If they use them.
Yeah, that's the big key right there, right? And on defense, I'm going to go with Danielle Hunter. Would be an instant impact player and provide a veteran presence to our linebacker unit. He's a free agent in 2024, would be our best linebacker from day one. And man, he can get to the quarterback. He already has 8 sacks in 2023. That would be nasty.
If you got Danielle Hunter, Micah Parsons would be a linebacker because you'd have Hunter and Tank to play the outsides with Armstrong and Fowler. Micah Parsons could just be he just made a play right there. He just got Purdy. They may have caused a strip sack. Parsons could be what is the Patriots use? The Patriots did it with Kyle Van Noy, and I'm blanking on what it's called. A designated pass rusher. So he's a linebacker, but he's a guy that pass rushes a lot, often. But he would be lined up at linebacker. I would, Daniel Hunter's destroying this year. Like, he might cost you a first-round pick. That's how much he's been killing.
Yeah, he's still rather young for football-wise. He's only 28, so that'd be nice.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay, so we're going to talk about our dream scenario, sure, Mike. What is your dream trade scenario and for who?
Jerry Jones for Howie Roseman, GM.
I love it, dude. That's awesome. That would be insane. I wonder, man, can you trade GMs? Can you trade owners?
I would trade that GM for that GM in a split second.
Man, I don't know. Do you still think it really is Jerry is the problem, or do you think it's Steven, honestly? Or both?
Either way, if I get Howie Roseman, I'm just trying to get Jerry out of there too, so I don't have to hear his stupid mouth every week about how he'll write every check and do this and that.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear. I don't listen to interviews with Jerry, Steven. I don't listen to them. I'm tired of those two.
They know how to talk, Mike. I'll give them that. For me, my dream scenario is a little bit more realistic here. The Cowboys trade a 4th-round pick for Derrick Henry. Henry would be the perfect complement to Pollard. He would give us a reliable red zone weapon. He has 84 career touchdowns. Would increase the offense's 3rd and 4th down success. Has big playability. Has 2 plays of 20-plus yards and 1 play of 40-plus yards. And he and Pollard could be on the field together. That'd be crazy to see.
I don't hate it. I know a lot of Dallas fans would hate it, but I don't hate it.
For a 4th-round pick, though? Man, dude.
It's because people don't want to run, the whole don't run the ball, or it's based on the offensive line. He's old, he's money, But I wouldn't hate it for that value. I don't hate it at all.
And I'd just love to see Pollard going back to that change of pace role.
I agree. I think that would make a big difference.
All right, Mike, here we're going to rank we're going to do our NFL power rankings. We're going to rank our top 10 NFL teams, our 3 worst, and our 2 surprise teams. Mike, give us your top 10 starting from 10.
Oh, starting from 10. Okay, let's go Seattle. I have them in tier 3 with the Jaguars, who's my 9th.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I have, what would it be?
Sorry, I'd probably throw you off starting from 10. My bad, I'm not.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just going backwards, making sure. I also changed a lot of things because this weekend was crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm at 8, 9, 10, 9. 8 would be Miami. Just because they haven't played well against the good competition teams. But I think if they were healthy, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
And then Buffalo. I had Buffalo and then Miami. I apologize. Buffalo's had a lot of season-ending injuries on defense, and so they have to lean more on Josh Allen throwing and stuff, and that's not a good plan for them. Matt Milano being out, and I think White was the other one out for the year. It's just that's like Diggs and LBE. That's a lot for them to lose. So that is what happened with the Rangers.
I just looked at the score, Mike. We're up 8-2.
Oh, that's great. I seen your reaction. I knew.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
That's good. But where Buffalo was 8, Miami was 7, Detroit was 6. I got Dallas at 5. I think Detroit, Buffalo, and Miami all could be above Dallas. I have them all in this one tier, tier 2. And I have Baltimore in that tier as well, but at the head of that tier. So they would be team 3. Philly would be 4. Baltimore would be 3.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
KC 2 and San Francisco 1. But right now, the way Minnesota's playing San Francisco, I'd probably flip those. KC 1, San Francisco 2. So KC, San Francisco, Baltimore, Philly, Dallas, Detroit, Miami, Buffalo, Jags, Seattle. There's my top 10.
All right. For me, I'll start with 10 as well. I'm going 10 Buffalo, 9 Dallas, 8 Seattle, 7 Jacksonville, 6 Miami, number 5 Detroit, number 4 Baltimore Ravens, number 3 Kansas City, number 2 Philadelphia Eagles, and number 1 San Francisco.
I like it. I have that's the 10. We both have the same 10.
That's the 10. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's just how you shift them around. And basically there was a lot in that Buffalo, Miami, and Detroit just kind of got beat and bad losses. And so they shift down where Dallas just beat. If it was the week of the Chargers, Dallas would be down for me at 9-10,
Yeah. I was looking when I was doing this, and I was getting to 10. I'm like, I kind of don't even want to put Buffalo here just because they've been doing so bad against really bad teams, and they have that bad loss. It's like I don't know if I can even trust them as a top 10 team. But then I'm looking around. I'm like, I believe in them more than I believe in Cleveland or Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was kind of like they were the best of the worst bunch, you know.
I agree. That's how it was for me.
So I'll do here. We're moving on to our 3 worst NFL teams to start us off, Mike. I'll go 1 through 3 this time. First worst team in the NFL, Arizona Cardinals. Second worst, Carolina Panthers, and number 3. I don't know how you feel about this team, but the Tennessee Titans.
They're in my bottom 3 as well. The only switch was I have Denver instead of Arizona. I think Arizona's played a lot of teams really well. They beat us. They would probably be 4 or 5 for me. But I have Carolina as the worst, then Denver, then Tennessee.
Fair. Very fair. Very fair. All right, Mike, who are your 2 surprise teams? It can be good or bad surprise in the NFL this year.
Texans, good. Denver, bad.
Yes. Yeah, great picks there. For me, New England's Patriots. I'm surprised at how bad they are. I know they've dealt with some injuries and everything, but still, it's weird to see a Belichick team playing the way that they've been playing. And surprisingly good, despite the coaching, is Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I know. Arthur Smith is really bad, it seems, but his team's winning games. So, you can't really get on him, even though you could really get on him.
Exactly. That was so weird about Bijan Robinson yesterday not getting any playing time. That was very strange, but we won't get into that. Mike, here we are with your views from the sidelines. I'm curious, looking at the Eagles and 49ers losing to inferior teams in week 6, did that make you feel better or worse about the Cowboys week 5 embarrassment?
No, because that was like our loss to Arizona, where they kind of like, oh shit, we lost this game. That's crazy.
That's a good point.
Dallas Niners, everybody knew what that was, and they whooped your ass. So no, that it's not the same losses.
That's a good point, man. Really, really good point. Yeah, now that you say that, no, I was kind of feeling better about the Cowboys losing to San Francisco, but I hadn't even thought about the Arizona loss. So yeah, that's an excellent point there, man.
If you want to feel better, watch the Niners this week, because now it's not the way they're playing against Minnesota is not up to their standard. Right. So you're wondering, like, did somebody figure something out? Are they easing off the pedal? Like, what's going on? Because Eagles won, so they need to win to stay up there. So, it's not some gimme game, and not that they're going to lose. They're only down 9 points, but Minnesota shouldn't be in a game with them. Like, they're better than they are, especially without Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I know you mentioned when a team, like if the Cowboys had beaten San Francisco, maybe they exhale and they have a bad game against the Chargers. Maybe San Francisco, after they beat us, the way that they've kind of let the foot off the gas a bit.
Yeah, but they lost last week. I'm
just saying they've kind of exhaled and they're stumbling now,
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. All right, here we are with one word. Mike, if Dak returns to being a mobile quarterback, the Cowboys offense will be blank.
Better.
What the hell?
Did we get the same one?
Yeah. I'm like,
nice.
It's better because the play calling is still so questionable.
The last game, I went on Landon Holyfield, one of the really great content creators on Twitter, and he was talking about the offense, and I was like, man, the offense did not look great overall because almost every play was all the big plays was Dak making something happen. It wasn't the designed offense.
Yeah.
They did run more motion, which I liked, but overall, you can't expect Dak to play like that when you play a better defense. When you play the Eagles, when you play San Francisco, when you play even Detroit, that kind of stuff is not going to work.
And it was nice. It seemed that they were making a concerted effort to get CD the ball and things like that. And it was nice to see Cooks finally have a game and, maybe take some targets away from Gallup. So maybe things are heading in the right direction. But yeah, I still need to see more.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so our guy Prescott has a question here. He's going to a different sport here. I do apologize. I know this is way out of left field, but initial thoughts on Wemby. I guess he's talking about Wembanyama, the center for the Spurs, I guess, Prescott. Is that what you're talking about? I'm not sure what he was referring to here.
That's Wemby, yeah. I
Okay, I thought so.
he'll be fine. Really talented. He's looked good, but Lakers are tomorrow, 4:30. Before then, I'm ready for that. I don't know if they'll beat Denver on ring night or anything, but I'm excited for the Lakers, and I hope the Spurs stink because that's like I love the Mavs weirdly, but
Yeah.
I can't. I hope he's horrible, Wembley.
So
Not
Prescott, I'm not
injured or
trying.
anything like that. I just hope he's no good. You know,
Yeah,
you got Tim Duncan and Manu and Parker and stuff forever. You got
Duncan
enough
Robinson.
greatness.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rob. Yeah.
back to back Duncan Robinson and Tim Duncan. That's not fair. Um, Matt, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here, but full exposure on my guy Prescott. Once Kobe retired, Matt just stopped watching the NBA, bro. He would keep up with highlights and stuff, but he was like a diehard watch every Lakers game, kept up with everything in the NBA as well, in addition to the Lakers. But once Kobe was done, he was just like, I don't have any reason to watch the NBA anymore.
What a way to go out, though.
Dude. Shaq asked him to score 50. He goes out and scores 60. That's how you end your career, bro.
Unbelievable.
All right, here we are with top 5. And this was an interesting category. Mikey, you had reached out to me last week. You said, can we do Tom Cruise movies? When you and Brendan were doing the show, and I was like, I actually kind of want to do that with you. Was there a reason why? Were you just wanting to do that with Brendan, or was there or were you just looking for a category? What was your reasoning for that one?
I couldn't figure one out, so I told my friend Muhammad, I can't figure out a top 5. I can't remember what was going on, but I was frustrated that day with some other stuff. And so he was helping me figure out a top 5. And I was like, I got to do this and that. I can't concentrate on it. I can't remember what we've done, this and that. He's like, have you done top 5 Tom Cruise movies? I go, yeah, I'm pretty sure we did, but I'll ask Paul. And that's when I sent you hey, how about top 5 Tom Cruise? It was kind of just Muhammad said it, my best friend. And I was like, I'm just going to throw it out there. And then you were like, oh yeah, we should do that. But the next week I was all, God damn it. We got to think of one.
Hey, sci-fi movies. That was a good category because, you and Brendan are more sci-fi guys than I am. So I like that category for y'all.
That was a tough category.
I bet. This one wasn't easy. I can't speak for you, Mike, but there were some movies on his list that I haven't seen, which I'm sure are pretty good. I actually think Tom Cruise, every movie that I've seen him in hasn't been a bad movie. So, I'm curious to see your list here, but I'll start us off. Number 5, I'm going with Vanilla Sky.
That's crazy because I'm the exact same number 5.
Really?
Swear.
Such a good movie, dude. He had that little time of I guess it was a summer or something where Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, and something else came out, and it's dude, these are all hit killers.
I think it was Oblivion.
I never saw that one.
That's a good movie, good sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I bet. He's kind of he's action sci-fi guy, right? Is that fair to say about Tom Cruise? Or
yeah, he's
well-rounded, but
he likes to do his own stunts. So he likes to get in movies, pardon me.
Yeah.
Where there's some adrenaline. And action sci-fi is his thing. So so we both got Vanilla Sky at 5. I will say I didn't put any of the Mission Impossible movies because they were a series. If I were to do that, MI6 Fallout, the one with Henry Cavill, Superman, would have made this list over Vanilla Sky. Yeah. But I left the Mission Impossibles out. They're a series of stuff. And then the standalones, he has enough of the standalones to not pick out Mission Impossible 4 and 7 are in there. I'm not in there. So Vanilla Sky is my 5. You want me to go to my 4?
Yeah, go to number 4. Let me shout out to Matt here. He said, dude, I bawled like a little baby the night of Kobe's last game. I was fortunate enough for my girl to have been able to get tickets to his second to last game here in Oklahoma City. That's got to be a cool experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, I seen Kobe Jordan when Jordan was with the Wizards. That was
wow. That'd still be really cool though.
So what were we doing? 4?
Number 4, yes.
4 is my highest in my IMDb rankings. My highest ranked movie for his is number 4, but I'm putting it 4th because it doesn't have the longevity. I haven't seen it enough to know that I'd like it with multiple views. Maverick, the Top Gun sequel. That was my favorite movie of last year, and it's great. And the only reason it's not higher, it would not get past number 1, but it would battle 2 and 3. But I've only seen it twice. And I need to see it like 4 or 5 times. It needs to be on TV, and I put it on just because
Yeah.
I like, seeing it. Those other 3 movies that are above it have that. So that's why it's down.
So, Mike, there was a movie I thought about adding in here, and it's not so much because it's a Tom Cruise movie, but more so it's got, my list tend to be a little bit more nostalgic. And I remember reading the book in elementary school, and then we watched the movie after reading the book. But were you ever close to having The Outsiders in your top 5?
I love that movie, but not in my top 5. But that is a great, it is worthy. But Tom Cruise had so many like ridiculous movies that Outsiders would not get in there. And is it really a Tom Cruise movie?
Exactly.
He's like an extra character in it, but it's like going, what's your favorite Johnny Depp movies? You're like Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's like, well, I mean, he's in 2 minutes and he dies, but
Yeah, exactly. All right. Number 4 on my list, Minority Report.
Great movie. Just so missed good. Mine. Yeah. I love it. I love that. It's just an inventive storyline. It's such a good sci-fi movie. And it was up there. It was in the realm of like, this has got to get in there. I have it higher than Oblivion, higher than most of the Mission Impossibles. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who was the co-star in it, the other male lead. Who's a really good actor as well.
He is. I'm not gonna remember his name, but in Force Awakens, he's the one that gives Poe Dameron the map, and he's been a villain and a good guy in a ton of movies, and he's looked the same for about 20 years. Older white Irishman actor. Too. People think he's Ian McKellen, but he's not.
Yeah, he's been in some. He's had some really good roles. He was kind of a heartthrob there for a little while as well. I just can't remember his name for some reason. All right, here we are, number 3, Mike.
Oh, Colin Farrell.
There it is. Yes.
I was thinking the old guy who's the bad guy.
Oh, okay. No. I'm thinking Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, yeah. Colin Farrell is one of my favorites. He's great.
Yeah, he really is. He's hilarious and Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, he's one of those that I could easily do a top 5 for. I'm a big fan of Colin Farrell.
Yeah. All right, number 3 on my list, you had it out of your top 5. I only saw it once, but this is the movie I would love to own on DVD, and it's kind of, if it's ever on TV, I would sit down and watch it. Maverick. I mean, come on.
Maverick was so good. Maverick, like, I wasn't a big fan of Top Gun. I thought it was good, but not like great. Maverick was unbelievably good. Like, I couldn't believe how good that movie was.
Seriously, yeah. I mean, I wish I could have seen it at least one more time in theaters, but I only got to see it the one. But even just that one was an experience.
I did not like The Arrival, Prescott. I'm sorry.
I've never seen it, Matt, so I can't say anything. But he's mentioned this a couple of times. The Arrival.
I'm not a fan. Sorry.
Fair. All right, Mike. What's number 3 on your list?
Edge of Tomorrow.
So freaking good, dude.
Badass movie. So he gets a thing where every time he dies, he comes back and relives the same day, like a deja vu. Yeah. And it's a battle with him and aliens, and Emily Blunt had it before. And so she's helping him navigate it, and they're trying to win a war versus the alien race. And the movie's it's just a badass movie. It's super funny, great action movie. Recommend you see it if you haven't.
Yes, sir. All right, here, Mike. If you can elaborate just for a minute, maybe not too long, Mike. But why don't you like Arrival?
If it's the one that is it the one with Charlie Sheen, the older one, or is she talking about the one with Amy Adams?
Amy Adams.
Okay, well that one was good. I like that movie, just not top 5, but that was a good movie. I was thinking the old one. Remember, I'm old, y'all. So there was like 4 Arrival movies, and one was really, really bad. But the one with Amy Adams is a good movie. It's worth seeing. It's not a like top 10 sci-fi for me, but it's like a 7 out of 10, worth seeing, worth watching.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, number 2 on your list.
Tropic Thunder.
Okay, so I saw that when I was like, going through the list of the movies that he's in, and do you consider that a Tom Cruise movie?
Here's why. Because he's the best character in it. That's why. So he's in it enough for him to be. It's obviously it's a Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr. movie. It's them. But and I wouldn't say like Matthew McConaughey, Tom Cruise are the stars in it. Like if I said best Matthew McConaughey movie and I said Tropic Thunder, you'd be like, I don't know. Tom Cruise is by far the best character in that movie. He every scene he's in is so good. And no, it's not a Tom Cruise movie, but because, in my opinion, he's the best character and he helps push the story forward because he's kind of the billionaire boss guy that is doing stuff. It's enough of a thing that he's my favorite character, and he's in it enough and important enough that I put the list in, that I put him in the list.
Dude, Tropic Thunder, man. I remember it got so many terrible reviews, people walking out of it and everything in theaters. When I got to watch it, it was just, I died laughing, bro.
I to this day, it's one of my top 5 funniest movies I ever seen.
So good. So quotable even to this day, bro.
Oh, it's brilliant. It is great movie.
All right, Mike, number 2 on my list. I'm sure you like this movie. Might not be in your top 5, I imagine, but Collateral with Jamie Foxx.
Great movie. Matter of fact, my best friend and his brother would probably fight me because I didn't have it in the top 5. They love that movie. And they would be like, what the hell? You didn't have Collateral in there? I actually really like that movie. It's a little long for me. It's the only reason that I didn't. Michael Mann, I like Michael Mann, but a lot of his movies run a little long. I feel like he can cut a little bit out of it. And that's the only reason it's not my top 5. Great movie.
Such a great duo to pair together. Like something you wouldn't imagine, but man, they were so great together.
And him and Cruise playing a character he doesn't play often.
Exactly. A bad guy. Character. Yeah. Okay, Mike, here's number 1 on my list. I don't know how you feel about this movie. I hope you like it at least. But this was the first time I saw Tom Cruise kind of out of character. And this movie didn't bring a tear to my eye, but I was so close. The Last Samurai.
It's my number 1.
Oh, dude. Incredible. When people talk about like Tom Cruise movies and they haven't seen that, I'm like, how have you never seen this movie?
Last Samurai is not only my number 1 Tom Cruise movie, but it would probably be in my top 10 movies of all time. Before that movie came out, to be fair, Magnolia, but Magnolia is a bit part in it. I just really liked him. Yeah. But I had not liked a Tom Cruise movie. I just wasn't a Tom Cruise fan. I was like, he doesn't do it for me. I wasn't a big Top Gun fan. I never liked Days of Thunder. I just didn't like his movies. That Cocktail wasn't my thing. Yeah. Last Samurai, my friend told me, you got to go see it. I'm like, I don't go see Tom Cruise movies. It's not my thing. He goes, the movie is just about Tom Cruise getting his ass kicked, the whole movie. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll go see it. One of the baddest movies, one of the baddest action movies ever. I used to laugh like, oh yeah, white Tom Cruise is the Last Samurai. Sure. That movie. Ken Watanabe, who we talked about earlier from the creator, kills it in that movie. And then the homeboy, I don't know his name, but he's in Wolverine. He's in Avengers Endgame in a little part. He always plays like an action samurai guy. He's like Ken Watanabe's main guy. He's the one that whoops Tom Cruise's ass all through the movie. He's incredible in that movie. He's in John Wick 4. He owns the hotel, and he fights the blind dude in his hotel. I can't remember his name, but that movie is all time great. Forget Tom Cruise. That movie is just all time great.
Yeah, for real. It's I just remember the first time seeing it and like seeing Tom Cruise play that character. I was like, man, this guy. I was just shocked to see him playing something different than like a action or whatever roles that he was playing prior to that. It was just like, man, it was hard to believe that he could play a role like that and do it so well.
He killed it. I mean, he totally turned around. From then on, I became one of the big Tom biggest Tom Cruise fans there is. Like, I've basically loved every movie he's made since that moment, since that movie. I've been like, well, now I'm going to see it. Hell, if he can make this all-time unbelievable movie, let me see these Oblivion and Minority Report. And then I was like, okay, well, this guy kicks ass. And from there on, I've just basically loved every movie he's been in.
Yeah, for real. That definitely changed my perspective on Tom Cruise. Well, man, it's always nice to end the I love the way we end the episodes on top 5. It always leads to a great conversation. Maybe, people tend to tune out because it can last 30, 45 minutes, but I think it's a great way to end these episodes, Mike.
This one lasted 15 minutes, but the reason we went over is because I went kind of crazy early. So, it's on me. We would have been under an hour, but I went over early. So now we'll close it out now, and we'll try to get under an hour next week.
Yes, sir. Well, Mike, as always, I enjoyed our conversation tonight. Let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys. Letter C, letter D, Piglet.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week.